Good morning. Hi, Jan. I'm glad that we're going to be doing this so that you can check out this set of rulers. It's actually pretty diverse, and I really, really like it. Carla, good morning from Oklahoma. Always in my mind, break out in song. Oh, that's just me. That's just me. We're just going to give it a second here for people to hop on. Okay. And then we'll get going. Is everybody doing well this morning? I know Jan is up and ready and raring to go. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, people are hopping on now. So, how many of you actually have this set and have never used them? That's what I find most. People have sets. Morning, Linda. Nice to see you this morning. Most people have the sets and then they kind of shy away from breaking them out and using them. And well, good morning, Jenny. Nice to see you. Pam's here too from Maine. Susie's here. Connie, hi. I love the little waving hand. I haven't figured that one out yet. Pam has this template. Cool, cool. These templates all come in various sizes. What we have is this is just kind of a sampler set. It's going to give us templates with four different sizes, I should say. And there's a whole lot of other sizes. So you can get them in any size that you wish. If you've got a special project you're working on. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Randy. Evelyn's here. Judy P is here. Okay, yeah, turning corners is a little tough. And Judy, I'm sorry, but we're not going to have time to get into turning the corners today, okay? Evelyn, good morning. Okay, Susie's here too. Oh, I love the rope template too. Suzanne, good morning. Okay, guys, just a word. I don't have a moderator this morning, so I will definitely try to get over here and check the comments. Joyce is here from Mesa, Arizona. Wanda is here from up the road. Good morning, Di Lerner. Awesome. We are having a good turnout this morning. Lynn is here as well. Well, welcome, welcome. So the border sampler set comes with four different templates, four totally different looks, as you can see here. The one thing I like about the rope template, and that's the first one we're going to look at this morning, is that this actually is part of the design. A lot of people don't realize that. What this does is this part of it adds this awesome little echo on top. So if you just want that little extra flair, we've got that ready for you, okay? So the way I have found this to be the easiest to line up is with this center line right here. Ruth Ellen is here. Joyce is here. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to see all of you. This little dashed line right here is our halfway line. So what I like to do is I like to work off of it. I think for me, it helps to keep me on the straight and narrow, which is not an easy task, just so you're aware. We have our vertical lines here, and this is where our needle will be. It's with our little, our foot just goes right in there. Then we have these echo lines, which is awesome because if you're going in this direction, you use these. If you're going in that direction, you use those. They work beautiful. Now, let's talk about size on this. This is 2.5 inches tall. Okay, that is 2.5 inches. And what we're going to do is we're going to look here from the highest point to the highest point. And what you're going to notice is it is 2.5 inches with the ruler foot. So right here, it looks more like 3 inches, but it really is 2.5 inches. And if you want to add this echo, it will add to the size of the design. So let's take a look at instructions, because in this one, I found the instructions to be extremely helpful, and especially with the rope. Now, a word of honesty here. The rope is probably the one I have the most problems with. And it could be the blondness in me. I'm not really sure. But for some reason, this is the one that I end up with brain farts on, okay? Okay, yes, Jan. Jan says she said she did not think of the echoing on the rope as a separate design, but absolutely it is. Carla says, I have the 3-inch and the 1-inch heart used for great granddaughter's quilt. Took a while to get the hang of it, but loved it once I figured it out. Carla, you are so right. That's why I always encourage everyone. Ida's here from Denmark. Sorry, here I go squirreling again. Welcome, Ida. It's so nice to see you. Okay, Ruth Ellen is here from Northern Virginia. Chances she doesn't need any more brain farts. Oh, trust me, I understand what you're talking about. Okay, so what this does is this gives us, we're going to start at A, we're going to come around to B, okay, stitch to B, and then we're going to stitch to B1. And that is when we're going to move our template. If you look here, it says we're going to start here and end here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put my template in my foot down. And I am wondering if it would be easier for you all to see if I turn this. Yeah, actually, it may be easier for you to see. Okay, here we go. You know, I've got my camera in kind of a weird angle this morning. So it's going to be just a little more difficult to maneuver, but we can do it. We can do it. So I'm starting at A, and I'm going to stitch all the way around to B, and then come back to B1. Okay. Somebody thinks we have company because I don't normally talk to myself. Okay. Take that one stitch in place. Now remember, this is kind of a curved sort of design in this area right here. So what we want to do is we want to make those stitches just a little smaller. Tiffy, get your ball. And then we're going to come all the way around to B. And here we go. Beautiful, easy curves. These are very, very easy to do. Now, this is going to be kind of a sharper turn. It's not going to be nice and smooth like this one. That's okay. We're going to come to B. And then we're going to go back to B1. This is why it's very important to have the proper amount of staple tape, because what you don't want is you don't want this template to slide along. Okay, so here we are at B. When we turn it, it goes to B for us. Now we have some options. What my option is to come up to A and just make another rotation. Okay. This has these beautifully etched lines in here will help us to line up as well as the halfway lines. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to A. And I need to move my template just a hair. Right now we're going to go around to B and back to B1. If you need to adjust your hands, such as I do right here, make sure your needle is down and don't move one hand at a time. Don't take your both hands off of the template. That can cause issues. And here we go. Around. We're going to meet up with the last one, and we're going to come back to B1. We're going to do this one more time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line myself up here. And it's kind of hard. Well, there's the reason why I don't have my straight line on the center line. Okay, Lisa, welcome. Di Werner says when she first worked with this, she had a rough time with it as well. And it's okay. It's okay to kind of struggle through that, because what we want you to do is we really want you to be able to practice with it, get proficient at it, and then go for it. By the way, I was thinking about this morning. Don't ask me why. As I was making my quilt sandwich, I noticed I have gold on the back of mine. This is just fabric I wanted to use up. I have green on the top. Could it be subliminal that I want everybody to be a packer like I am? I mean, it's possible, right? Anyway, I don't know why that came to my head, but it just did. Okay, I'm going to check with my spacing gauge, because what I want to make sure that I do is I want to make sure that I'm right where I need to be, and I am. Line that out. Oops, got a little bit cattywampus there. Now, and we end up again at A. So we're going to come around. I got to tell you, I am sitting so far back from where I can see good that I'm afraid that my traveling is not going to be awesome here this morning. So I hope you can forgive me on that aspect. Okay, we're going to come around to B, and then we're going to stop here and go back to B1. I'm going to do one more for you, okay? Because I want to show you how beautiful this echo works. And it really is pretty cool. Okay, lined up, everything looks appropriate. And you see, by stepping back, what I'm seeing and what is actually stitching is just off a hair, okay? So that's why it's important when you're stitching to be as close to seeing it from the top as possible. Okay, come down here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this. Remember, practice piece. We don't have to use our time bearing threads and all of that. Okay, use the time practicing. That's more important. Okay, so what we've got here for the echo, and I'm going to show you how to line this up. Here is our center part. Here's each end. So I want to line the center part up where the two come together. And I think I'm going to do it from this direction. It's just going to be easier for me to stitch, being so far away from it this morning. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this down, going to pull this back up, and there we go. Get that bobbin thread up. Oh my goodness, my hands are not working real well this morning. I must need more caffeine. Always needing that caffeine in the morning. Okay, so now what we're going to have is we're going to be coming out and echoing 1/4 of an inch here. Okay, Jan asked a question here. Okay, you forgot to, okay, Lee asked one too. Joyce, yes, practice, practice, practice. Lisa, good morning from Sugar Land. Okay, so Lee said you forgot to pull last night. What template are we going to demonstrate next Tuesday evening? Oops. Yeah, that was a big oops. And I did pull it this morning just because I had a feeling somebody might ask. We are going to do the Spinifex 10. And I'm really excited about that because I came up with some really cool designs a while back with the Spinifex 10. And I'm going to show you some of that. And we're going to show you some of the normal ways to use it. And then there's the Kathy way to use it, which is usually abnormal. Okay. Okay. Jan asks, what is the secret as to how you are moving your ruler and material so smoothly? One is practice, Jan. Okay. There's no such thing as too much practice. It just comes with practice. The other thing is making sure that your glider is, you put your, okay, it's early. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you put your polish on your glider. It will help. The other thing is making sure that you have the stable tape where your hands are going to be. Quite honestly, on this one, I probably should have a little stable tape here and a little stable tape here, because that's how I move my hands while I'm working on it. So all of those things work in concert together, and they definitely will. Oops, there we go. They definitely will, with practice, help you get smoother. The other thing, I stitch slow. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not a fast stitcher. So I don't know if the speed helps or not. I do know if I try to go faster, and Judy from Crystal Falls knows this, that she's been in enough of my classes, that I do try to go faster, but when I do, I seem to make more mistakes. Oh, Lee, thank you. Thank you so much. Lee says, oh, I love the little Kathy ways to use these templates. Oh, you guys are so sweet. You really are good to me, and I notice that, and I do appreciate it so much. So I also like to take this first stitch in place and start slow. And there's a good reason for that. And the reason that I do that is because I have a tendency to make toe catchers. And what toe catchers are is that first stitch can get extremely long for me for some reason. So I have learned over the years to take that first stitch in place before I get going. And that way I am sure to alleviate the toe catchers. Okay, there we go. We can do 2 at a time with this. That's what I like about this. And again, I've got my line of stitching. This line of stitching is right on the edge here. And this nice little center line, it should be a vertical center line, but I'm holding it in the opposite direction. And you know what? That's okay. If you are more comfortable sewing in this direction, use it. Don't be afraid. I mean, it's all personal. And it took me some time to figure out, whoops, I just let my ruler slip. It took me some time to figure out some of the templates I wanted to stitch in a different direction than what the instructions say. So don't be afraid to go ahead and play with that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here another 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to turn this so you can see another way in which you can stitch this. And that is this way. And some people may be more comfortable this way. And if you are, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a second echo line in here. You can put as many as you want. Okay. And there we go. Make sure I've got a good hold on that template. Oh, and I can see I need to make a little adjustment. Now, I'm glad this happened. What I have here is my vertical center. This should be right above here. You see how it was over a little bit? Okay, so this is just exactly like the clamshell. We're going to stop at the higher point. Then we're going to adjust our template. And now we're going to keep on stitching. And only you and I will know that that adjustment took place. Okay, whoops, there we go. All right, and off we go for the second one. And we're going to move our template and we're just going to keep going. Isn't this pretty? That is just pretty. Sometimes adding more helps. I tend to overfill, but it's okay. That's me. That is just me. And I'm going to do one more here, and then I'm going to move on to the next template. Okay, and there we go. What do you think? It's not difficult, is it? And it looks so polished and so pretty. But again, remember, I am not close enough to my machine to be looking straight over it. So that's why I'm getting some lines that are not exactly one over the top. Kim, good morning. You're in Hotlanta. Jenny is here. Okay, Jenny, we'll see you feel better. Okay, hon. Joyce Sinclair said, so this is for borders. It's a normal way so that the bulk of the cloth is to the left. Yes, you want the bulk to the left. And in order to do that, what I was doing earlier, I will go down like this, and then I will go ahead, turn, and come down like this. You definitely want to keep that bulk on the left side of your machine. Okay. And don't forget, you can see right here, I've got a really narrow throat. Okay. So it's probably more important that I keep it on. Lisa loves the echo. Yes, I do too. And I mean, you could keep going with that echo as far as you want. So that is the first one. Now what I want to do is I want to do, the continuous border loop. The continuous border loop to me is probably one of the easier ones to do. And you'll notice I don't have any markings because I wanted to go over the markings. You're not seeing comments, Di? Okay, probably the reason you're not seeing the comments is because most everybody is on YouTube. So if you're in YouTube, you're seeing the YouTube comments. If you're in Facebook, you're seeing the Facebook comments. I wish there was a way for them to all meld together. I am the only one who can see all of the comments. So I'm seeing whether they come from YouTube or Facebook, but not necessarily from which YouTube or which Facebook page we've got this on. What we have here is we have this being streamed to 4 different places, and that is the So Steady YouTube channel, the So Steady Facebook page, the 906 Quilting YouTube channel, and the 906 Quilting Facebook page. And that's why I usually have 2 people coming in and moderating for me. Patricia is here from Minnesota. Good morning, Patricia. I hope it's a little warmer there than it is here this morning. When you're used to 90-degree temperatures, 70 seems really cold. Okay, so let's take a look at our continuous loop and let's take a look at some of the markings on it, okay? What we have is this vertical center. And we also have these beautifully etched lines to be able to follow as well. What we're going to do with this one, and we do have the instructions in our instruction book here. The stitching line is in red, and we're going to stitch all the way around and stop. Then we're going to move our template. Okay, so this the only difference here between this one and this one is that this is a 2-inch by 2-inch continuous border loop. This is a 2-inch by 3-inch continuous border loop. So it's longer and narrower looking. Okay. These come in so many different sizes. It's amazing. Here's our halfway. Here is our bottom. Now, this is the bottom of the design. This is the bottom of the template. This is the bottom of the design. And again, up here, you've got the top of the template and the top of the design. Remember, everything is a 1/4 inch smaller. Okay, so I am going to set this one up the same way I set up the rope. Janet would work. Jan says, okay, so what Jan asked is, can the echoing discs be used to reduce this or any ruler to fit narrow borders? Yes, they can. Usually if I have something and I want a particular design, I normally tend to buy the templates in different sizes. Okay. Yeah, Joyce brings up a really, really good point. She said it would work, but the markings would not line up on previous stitch lines. And Joyce, you're right on with that. So that kind of negates the accessibility to lining up with these echo or with those etched lines there. So yeah, play with it, see how well it works for you, Jan, and then go forward from there. I don't ever want to say, no, you absolutely cannot do that. Because you can. I mean, this is your project. This is your quilting. So, and what might work really well for one may not work well for the next guy. Okay. So play with it, practice it. That is so important. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to practice with your templates. Not only that, it's fun. Draw them out. I do a lot of drawing. I really do. And I find that drawing is probably the best way for me to learn how things work and how I can do it a different way. Okay. Because, you guys know by now that I really do like to kind of, shall we say, shake it up a little bit. I guess I am going to stitch this way this time. And this is where you have a big quilt. You don't want to do it in this direction because you're going to have all the bulk here. Okay. This is when you want to do it in this direction, either coming from the bottom up or the top down. And that also is a personal preference. I find coming from the top down works better for me. Some other people might work better from the bottom up. Okay, so our instructions tell us we're going to start right here. We're going to stitch down and we're going to come up. Remember, at this point right here, our foot is going to kind of hesitate. And what we want to do at that hesitation point is we want to take one extra stitch, because you'll see this is a point here. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have that extra stitch in there to keep the point pointy. Okay, up we go. Come on, Fred. Oh, yeah. Definitely have not had enough caffeine yet today. All right, down we go. We're going to put our foot down. All right. I am using my center line. If you prefer to use the upper and lower lines, you can mark those in. It's all a personal preference, and none of it is wrong. Everything is correct. Okay, take that first stitch in place. And remember, this is a curved design, kind of a, an archetype design. Oh, is that even a word? I don't think so. Okay, we're going to cut those threads off and get those out of our way. There we go. And around we go. These are so easy to stitch. Now, here we go. I'm going to take that extra stitch in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'll be honest with you. I think of all the border templates we have, this is my favorite. Now, what you're going to see here, this previously stitched rotation lines up perfectly underneath the etched line here. I've got my center line lined up. At least I think I do. See, well, it's really hard to see, but that's okay. We're good. We're good. Okay, we're going to come down. Take that extra stitch here and move on up. And then we're going to stop with our needle down. And we're going to move over. Okay. And there we go. I think I'm lined up now. You may want to double check. And the way to do that is to use your spacing gauge right here. And it looks to be pretty close to me. Oh, yeah, that's about as pretty close as you can get. Hesitate. There we go. And around and up we're going to go again. Make sure your machine has stopped before you move your template. Let me check this again. Oh my goodness, that is working out beautifully this morning. Okay, come down. Don't be afraid. This is one of the things I found when I first started. When I had a design that came like this, I was always afraid I was not measuring it correctly and I was not ending up where I needed to be. So I was always kind of fussing with this part. And if you die, so she uses this one most also. Janice from Maine, good morning. How are you? Anyway, what I would say is I fussed with this a lot. And when I was doing that, what I found was I wasn't making these connections really nice. Some would be too far apart, some would overlap. So when I decided to quit fussing and believe in the template, my gosh, things got a whole lot better for me. So yeah, I do use my spacing gauge here, but you know what? That's okay. That's absolutely fine. And you'll see it comes out perfect every time when I don't fuss with it. Now this one comes in squatty sizes, comes in narrow sizes, comes in all kinds of sizes. And a lot of our patterns call for this. As far as I'm concerned, you can't have too many sizes of the continuous border loop. That's just all there is. It's a staple. And I love this design. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop right here because I want to try something. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tilt my template. And I'm going to come back down. And I'm going to tilt it again. And I'm going to come back down. Now I'm going to realign. Make sure everything is lined up nicely. And I'm going to continue on. And by golly, it worked. I've never done that before. You guys saw it here first. Look at there. Look at what we did. We made an embellishment here. Isn't it cool? Eileen. Okay. She asked how to turn corners in border designs like these two. Quite honestly, I don't have the time this morning to show you all that. I think we probably should spend some time addressing it though. So, let me see what I can do to make some bonus videos for you on how to turn these. Okay. Linda, thank you. Lee, thank you very much. And Suzanne, you as well. Yeah, some of them are very easy to do. Some of them are a little more difficult to do. So I think we should probably devote a session just to how to turn on these. Okay. If you're unsure, you can always do cornerstones too. That's my go-to if I have trouble with any of them. Now, I've never done that before, but I wanted to see if it would work, and it does work. So we can make embellishments here. Here we go again. Now I've kind of fussed with this a little bit, but it's okay. So what I did is I stopped where the two threads, the two stitch lines meet. Okay. Then what I did, let's do it this way. I think you can see it better. Okay. So then what I did is I just tilted my template and I'm going to stitch up. And I stitched to, about here. Yeah, there is no rhyme or reason to the size. And if you were going to do this embellishment, I would suggest going ahead and drawing a second line across there so you know where to stop. Okay, so I'm going to realign here and I'm going to tilt it a second time. So what happens is we're going to be 1/4 of an inch apart at our widest. And I'm going to stop right about there and come back to center. And I'm going to stop right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to realign, and this is where those edge lines come in so handy. Okay, also going to make sure that my center line here is correct. And I'm going to finish up this rotation. And we're going to stop and come across. Now, if you had, you could do a whole lot of different embellishments with this. I'll be honest with you guys. There's a ton of ways. If you wanted to, you could do it from the top down as well. And simply by doing this, again, hitting that template, it's not as much fun as pow tipping, but it works. And I'm going to do it a second time. Yes, you can kind of tell I'm a country girl when I talk about cow tipping. Cow tipping and snipe hunting. Oh, we used to get the city kids with those all the time. All right, so now I'm just going to realign everything. And we're going to come. And I didn't touch my spacing each side got over just a little bit there. But that's okay. This is just practice, right? We're here to have fun. And that is our continuous border loop. Again, my favorite, doesn't have to be yours, but it is mine. Use different color ruler stickers to keep all the embellishment lines the same. I love it, Di. I do use stickers a lot. So Lee says that the embellishment makes it look elegant. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I agree, Lee. Oh, Eileen, thank you. You're welcome. And we will do something to that effect. I just believe you can never over quilt something. You know, baby quilts, maybe you can. I like to keep baby quilts nice and soft and snuggly. So I try not to over quilt them. Okay, so that is the second of 4. Now we're going to bring out, and we don't have instructions on hair, but look at this. Isn't this beautiful? This is the hearts done with, I believe it's the hearts done with the rope. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that. Okay. So this is my fish. It looks like a goldfish, right? Uh, use the ruler foot as a guide, Suzanne says. Ruth Ellen brings up something that we should talk about, and I like this. How she figures out corners is she starts with drawing out the corner on paper and working on the design. It takes a while, but it's well worth the time. Ruth Ellen, I could not agree with you more. Okay. Always, always, always like to draw things out. But that's me. I just like to draw things out. You can never have too much practice when you're doing it. Does that make sense? So thank you for your comment. I think it's spot on, definitely. Suzanne says, I use the ruler foot as a guide for embellishments, and that is a great way to use that ruler foot, because that's kind of what I did just now. The stickers, the ruler foot, the vis-a-vis markers, you can use anything that works well for you. Okay. Now, this little guy, I always get hungry when I'm using him because he looks like goldfish crackers. And since I have no children around anymore, I no longer keep goldfish crackers in the house. Probably a good thing because I definitely would eat them up. Although we got our first great grandchild, and I'm sure that he will get introduced to goldfish crackers when he comes to great grandma's house. Okay, I digress. Let's take a look at our picture here. It is this template that we're working with, and this is what it's going to look like when it is done. Isn't that pretty? I really, really like that. Now, this is one where I have to really trust myself and just use the template and keep going, because we're going to be doing all kinds of meeting up in places, okay? So let's take a look at how we're going to put this together. What we're going to do is we're going to come down here, okay, and then we're going to come up here, and then we're going to slide it over and repeat. Okay, that's not difficult. And again, we have a vertical center and we have a horizontal center. The horizontal center is the one that I use. You know, this could be used as a spinifex too, guys. Just saying. I'm always on the lookout for doing things different. I don't know how y'all put up with me. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to again make that center line here. And I am using my chalk liner with the Ultimate Pounce powder in it. Take it home, empty it out, replace it. I actually use a squeeze bottle, like a condiment bottle with a real tiny little nozzle on it. And then I just take this off and turn it upside down and squeeze the powder in there. And what that does is it helps to keep things relatively clean. I do like to put a paper towel down when I'm using this. The other thing I'm going to suggest is when you get done, go wash your hands before you touch your face, because otherwise people are going to look at you and wonder what you've been doing. Okay. Uh, oh, thank you, Ruth Ann. Thank you. And Lisa, she tried the vis-a-vis markers the other day and they worked wonderfully. Awesome. I'm so glad you liked it. She says, thank you for telling us about them. You know, I like to share all my little secrets. I don't keep anything private. Oh, I want you all set up for success. And you know what that means? That means I'm going to tell you everything. Okay. I'm going to come in this way. I'm going to line up my center line. Now, when you're first beginning, you have a seam line here. So we're gonna go ahead and put that seam line in. Okay, we're not going to turn a corner on this one. We're just going to use the seam line. Okay, and like I said, sometimes I like to use use cornerstones because a lot of the patterns I make do have cornerstones in them. So what we want is only half of this. And where we need to end up, this is the important part. Remember I said we're going to start here. We're going to come around and down, pause here, and come back up. And then we're going to just slide this over. So what I want to do is I don't want to start here. I could, but I don't want to. I sound like a kid now, don't I? I don't want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to line this up. I'm going to line up my vertical and my horizontal line. Where I'm going to start is going to be at the bottom center of this. And in a second, you're going to see why I start there. Okay, up we go. Now remember, there's a seam right here, pretend. And go ahead and put myself back together here. Hold that thread back. Make sure I'm lined up on the vertical and the horizontal center lines. There we go. I'm going to take that first stitch in place. Okay. Now, this one can be a little trickier to get around because this is a pretty sharp curve we're making. So what I want you to do is slow down when you get on that curve. Hug that template. Don't push on the template. Oh, I'm so full of orders, aren't I? So these are the things that should help you along. At least I hope they do. Okay, so now I've got half of my design done. Now I'm just going to move my template to the right. I'm going to make sure that this previous line of stitching falls right under the edged echo line. Oops. Okay, well, I guess this grab a different one. There. Surprise, I just dropped my spacing gauge. Okay, so I'm going to come here. I'm going to check, and that looks really good. So now I'm going to come back down and end up on the opposite side. Again, taking that one stitch in place. This is where we need to be nice and slow and deliberate. Okay. And when I say deliberate, what I mean is don't get halfway through that design or that rotation and try to move your template, because that will not be a good outcome. Now, these two should just touch, just like that. Trust the templates. And look at how beautiful that turned out. Now we're just going to slide it down, and we're going to continue to repeat that, making sure that we are lined up with our previous line of stitching here. Okay, if you need to smoosh, it's okay. I'm going to just double check this. Yeah, I thought that was off by a little bit. There we go. Now we know we've got it good. Down I come. And around we go. Press that template. And I have to repeat that to myself many times as I'm doing these designs. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I'm not OCD or anything, but I sure want those areas to just kiss as I'm going around them. And you'll notice this one didn't just kiss. It came close enough for me though. Okay. If it didn't touch perfectly, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It really isn't. And it just simply could be I had my foot, or I'm sorry, my template just skewed a little bit. And this is why I wish I was over the top of it, because it's much easier to make sure that it stays where it needs to be. Now we're going to come down. How do you like that for trust? I did not check with my spacing gauge this time. Beautiful. And you can see how easy this is to just take your time, go around the template. So important not to push the template against the foot or the foot against the template. Because if you do either one of those two things, you end up skewing the design, and that's never a good thing. Is that gorgeous or what? I am telling you guys, I love it. I just love it. Okay. Jean is here from Mount Vernon, Washington. Yeah. And we've got one here that we're just going to, there we go. Okay. So depending on your border width, let's see what Linda's asking. Depending on your border width, can you use the horizontal lines on the top and bottom of the template instead of the center line? Linda, absolutely you can. Absolutely. It's personal preference, which you want to use. And if these lines work better for you, by all means use them. And I understand what you're saying. Using just the center line when you have a whole lot to stitch can get kind of cattywampus at times. And the reason I say that is because you're pulling in this fabric just a bit. And every time you lay a stitch and pull that fabric in, it's going to kind of make this a little bit on the wavy side. And that can skew things just a little bit. But Linda, you're a great stitcher, so it shouldn't be a problem. Lois is here from Delaware. Good morning. Joyce. Okay, Joyce says, okay, that's probably what I'm doing wrong. I pushed the template into my ruler foot. I see so many people do that. I'm guilty of it. Okay. I did the same thing when I was first starting out. And of all the bad habits that I have, I think that was the hardest one to break. Truthfully, Joyce, it was the hardest one. What I found helped me break it was I love to draw my designs. And the more I drew the designs, the more I trusted the template. And the more I trusted the template, the less I pushed on it. I hope that's helpful to you. So I'm afraid we're not going to get to the last one, and I apologize. This is a very, very easy one. It's one that we're going to flip back and forth over. It is the heart. It has two templates in one, and mine just fell apart. Okay, we've got the smaller and the larger one. I'm going to just try and get a few rotations of it in here, okay? All righty, here we go. Let's see what we can do. I'll use the small one. You will need stable tape on both sides because we're going to be flipping this back and forth, back and forth. Okay. So what we're going to do, and this particular one lines up vertically and horizontally, top and bottom. So you can do this several different ways. You can use the top as a horizontal line across, or you can use the bottom as a horizontal line across. It's entirely up to you. Now, we have two different things that we can do with this one. What we could do is come from the bottom down, flip that template, and go back up. Not my favorite way. Okay, be honest with you. I like coming down and up here and then flipping the template and coming back down here. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to start at the bottom, pull my bobbin thread up. There we go. Put it down again in that center line, being careful. Here we go. Jan says pushing the template against the foot is her biggest issue. Yeah, that's a tough one. It really is, but I know you can do this. So I'm going to take that first stitch in place. I don't think I'm quite lined up where I should be, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going in the wrong direction, guys. And yeah, let me start over here because otherwise I am going in the wrong direction. I should have known that. All righty, here we go. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to start on this side. Oops, I just dropped all my tablets. Oh, what a surprise. I dropped something, right? Ah, if you ever look up the word klutz in the dictionary, you're going to find my name next to it. It's just me. My brother used to tell me I'm the only one he knew that could trip on air. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna go. We're gonna come around here. I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't used this one much, and it's not because I don't like it. I do. I just don't use it much. There's certain things that I have a tendency to go back to my favorites all the time. And I don't know if that's good or not. Probably not. I should widen my horizons, right? Okay, so now we're going to come around. Now we're going to bring down and stop there. And you see, we're going to be flipping the template a lot. And that is why we need, yeah, that's right. Oops. I'm going to do it in this direction. It's just easier, okay? And this is why. There we go. And now we're going to come back here. And I'm going to be going over. There we go. So it's going to look a little different. And I'm not really sure why it is. But that's okay. I guess I need to practice this one a little more. And we're going to come this way, and we're going to come down again. I kind of like this. And down we go. And we're just going to keep on going. So you'll see here, this is just another way to do it. You're not the only one while it's moving. Okay, Kim, well, you have a good day, and I appreciate you stopping by. Okay, now Susie says that I'm not the only one who walls move in front of. Oh, awesome. I did it right to left on her long. Pamela says she did it from right to left on the long arm. Sometimes it's easier to go in one direction than it is another. It's just a matter of preference, guys. It really is. So that is what we have this morning. Now I'm going to share a little secret with you guys. Okay, I did share it last night, but I'm going to share it with you. And it works out perfectly because we're talking about borders today. I have been working on a new class, and it is nothing but borders. And we're going to start with very easy borders. This would be like the first one we start with. And then we're going to kind of move into increasingly difficult borders. Not difficult in the manner of stitching. I think it's just more technically difficult, and we're going to have to do more math. Okay, so this would be one of them. And so far, this one is my favorite. It really is. And we're going to show you how to template them if you choose. So the big question last night was, Should I do this as a university class, or would you rather I do it as a Zoom class? So let me know what your thoughts are. Oh, Di, thank you. Oh, thanks, Pamela. The Reveal fabric. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that Reveal fabric. I saw it online. I absolutely fell in love with it. And Lisa at a Zoom class. That's kind of what I'm getting. More people want Zoom classes these days, especially because we film them and you can go back to them. Joyce says to Zoom, okay. Lisa, thank you. She loves the template. So, where I was going, what I was saying, I forgot because you know me, I tend to just swirl around. But the fabric. So I ordered the fabric, and because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get it again, I ordered probably more than I should have. And when it got here, disappointment abounded. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The colors were so vivid in the advertisement. And when the fabric came, it was washed out. The fabric was not a good quality fabric. And I was extremely disappointed. So anyway, it came from offshore. I won't, tell you where exactly, but it came from offshore. You can guess. And I was just so angry with myself that I didn't do my due diligence before I spent the money on this fabric. And I was talking to my husband about it. And he looked at me and he said, so is it unusable? And I said, well, no, I think actually it'll make good Reveal fabric. So he said, well, then it wasn't a waste, was it? Don't be too hard on yourselves. We all do this stuff. Okay, definitely do. Okay, Sally says, I am new to template, a 50 plus year one. If that means, Sally, that you're 50 plus years, you're good to go. You've got a lot of time to practice with it. Pamela, yes, he is. He is a very good husband. He really is. He is also a quilter, so he understands all of my quirks, which is a good thing. And Sally, it's okay. I was in my 50s when I first started doing this. I was well into my 50s when I started doing this. Okay. We're never too old to learn, and we're never too old to be able to create beautiful quilting. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if there's any additional questions. And while you're thinking of those questions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on the YouTube channels. My 906 Quilting is a YouTube channel. I would love so much to see you all go there and subscribe to my channel. I'm just in the process of growing it right now. And it means a lot to me to know that you guys like what I am doing over there. And you'll see other videos over there that you don't see, that I don't do here. As far as I like free motion quilting. So a lot of times I like to incorporate rulers and free motion together. You're welcome, Melinda. Thank you for being here. Joyce is in her 60s and barely starting. Joyce, you've got a long way to go. Oh my goodness, Lois is in her 90s. I never would have guessed that, Lois. And Evelyn started at 80. Jan, you're 85, really? Ruth Ellen started at 75. 906 Quilting is correct, Lorraine. Thank you very much for asking. Lee, you are so welcome. So next week, we are going to work with the Stepping Out Series Template Sampler Set. Yes. Next time, find us on YouTube and you will see more comments. You are welcome, Pam. So we will see you next week on Tuesday evening for Spinifex 10. On Wednesday morning for the Stepping Out Sampler Template series. And until then, let's quilt.